All right. Welcome everybody to this very special episode 100 of the Thoughtium Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. I would love to say that I didn't think we'd ever get here, but I knew we would.
Yeah.
And here we are, episode 100. I am joined by a few leaders from Thoughtium, my co-founder, Norm Ralph, our chief of staff, Amanda Lobo. We'll do some intros in here in a second, but what an absolutely special time for Thoughtium, and more importantly, what a special time for our extended community. Today is all about celebrating those leaders, those community members who have stepped into this incredible conversation with us over the course of the last almost 6 years. And today we are celebrating episode 100, and we'll kick it off with a little bit of a look back. I am super excited that design has made its way into our everyday vernacular. And not just from an L&D perspective, but on a broader scale, I've now had the opportunity to work with several startup organizations that were really founded on this concept of using. A couple weeks have been not only super fun and exciting for me as I've been able to create new content for this blog, but I've also had the opportunity to collaborate with a couple groups of close friends on some interest areas that I think are really intersecting. Back to this idea of bridging the gap between the way that we learn outside of our jobs and the way that we learn inside of our jobs. Oftentimes, if I want to learn something outside of my job, I type it up on YouTube. Within 5 to 7 minutes, I have a decent perspective. I feel so fortunate that we are in the current state with all of these things that are open and affordable and able to support us. The space that we work in and having optionality in terms of where we grow. The tools that
driving force is that I have an obligation to die empty. We were born closed and full. At some point, we need to crack that lid open.
We're at a point in society where there's no more of a development of a big digital technology per se. Now it's a matter of how do you use the technology that's out there to then create the experience.
So we call it understanding with a side of urgency.
You can pick up on people kind of right away with a quick conversation. And if they pass the kind of real Chicago test that I like to kind of put up there, we go for it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about here, man. It's just staying real.
Truly, truly amazing to look back at almost 6 years of content creation and most recently the last few years of this incredible coming together of our community. And that includes you, Norm, and Amanda. Welcome to this very special episode. Welcome to the table. I know this is a familiar spot for both of you. Amanda, we'll start with you. Say hello and tell us a little bit about some of your reflections.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. So happy to be here. As Anthony mentioned, I'm our chief of staff here at Thoughtium, and I have the pleasure of curating our speakers and making sure that this platform is full of guests and exciting topics on a week-to-week basis. So I got to see Anthony start this platform as his friend, followed along during the pandemic, watched him, stay consistent every single week, and then when we started working together, I got to step into a more formal role, and it's just very exciting. It's just been so fun to see that evolution and to be a part of it and to see our team step in great ways and bring new people to the table every week. It's just been extremely rewarding, and I'm very, very proud to be at the table with you guys today.
Well, and we are proud to share the table with you. Amanda has just done an incredible job over the course of the last really 18 months, helping us scale this community in ways that reach far beyond the live stream. So Amanda, thank you so much. Norm, you've been here at Thoughtium probably the most outside of myself, and you've seen definitely the evolution of our community and this platform and navigating now. Some thoughts as you look back.
Yeah, I mean, it's profound when you look back at 5 years ago. And I remember as I'm seeing the 2017, 2018 videos, and I remember being in the room and absolutely intimidated for being on for myself to be like on this platform. This is something that takes a lot of creative confidence in my previous professional life, something I would not have stepped into. And so as I look at, this is about us all growing together. As I look at the community, and this is just one of the expressions we have of community. But I think this is an important time as we're acknowledging this is the 100th episode. It's also a chance to look back and acknowledge the process. We're all strivers. We all have big dreams. We're all working very hard, but you might lose sense as to like how far we've come. And it's how far we've come together. And so I think, again, I look across all of the great guests that we've had on here. Some of these you're going to get a chance to have live. It's just, there's so much to be said about pausing, acknowledging the process, and seeing how far we've come together.
Absolutely. And that's what today is all about. We are here celebrating 100 episodes of the Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. One of the ideas that we had as we approached 100 was, how do we, culminate this first 100 with a really special experience? And yes, today is all about looking back, but we want to bring forward some of those Navigating Now community members and leaders who have been on the show, who have shared their voice. And we're going to do that in a little bit of a roulette style. So Amanda, we're going to bring you back in just a few moments. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. And we are going to spend the next 30, 40, maybe 50 minutes bringing in some very familiar faces, those folks who have been on the platform, have shared their voice, and have made an absolutely huge impact. So the first guest that we're going to bring in is Mr. Chris Altman's, none other than Chris Altman's. We call him Oates. We call him the guy. I mean, he's a friend. He's a brother. He's a client, and he's really leading things at a very exciting and emerging organization that he's going to tell you about here. But we're going to ask everybody a singular question, and we're going to bring Chris in to get us kicked off. So, Chris, we want to welcome you to the Navigating Now virtual roundtable series yet one more time. Chris, say hello. Oh, I think you're muted, Chris. You know what? I think you're muted, Chris. That's okay. We'll bring you back here in just a moment. One of the great things about this show is that, people can pipe in from all over the place. And Chris is really leading up operations, business development at a large home healthcare provider. He's clearly out in the field today. And that's what our network is all about, are those people that are out there in the work day after day. And so we're going to bring in our next guest. And he goes by one singular name, and we call him Nosa. We're going to bring Nosa in to the 100th episode of the Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. Nosa, how are you? Okay, Nosa, I think your connection might be low, or we may not have sound. And that's okay as well too. This is the way we roll here at the Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. Does anybody want to celebrate 100 episodes with us?
This is part of roulette. Yes.
That is the question. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring in another incredible guest, perennial guest, Kathleen Brown. Kathleen has been with us really since day one. I'm hoping that we can get her both her audio and video to work. Maybe say hello, Kathleen, and we'll know that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Kathleen, good to see you.
Oh, you can hear me. Woo!
That's awesome. Hey, one of the best things about this platform, and maybe the one of many things that connects us to Kathleen, who is the founder of Buddy, a community builder, a leader here in the Chicago area. One of the things that really connects us is that we are unafraid to try. And we met Kathleen very early on in the growth and development of Thoughtium. She was a member here at WeWork, still very much is a big part of the WeWork community. And it was myself and Norm here at like 10, 15, 11 o'clock at night trying to get things done. And Kathleen was here with us right down the hall, just absolutely putting her all into the growth of her organization. And she's been on the show a few times talking about building community. Kathleen, as you say hello, and you answer our singular question, we're going to go ahead and open a bottle of champagne. Kathleen, the question is, what do you know today as a leader that you did not know 2 years ago? And welcome back. We love you. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. I love you guys. Your team, thank you for inviting me to be here. I learned so many things. I think if I had to distill it down to one big lesson is
to just follow your North Star, but know that you can go your own way and you can make changes in how you get from point A to point B as new information and new situations arise. I think in the beginning, when I first started building Buddy, and I had met both of you who were well on your way already, I was very ingrained to like, there's a certain way of building businesses. You read the books, you listen to the experts, you listen to other people and you follow their advice. And I became too, I don't know, I think too married to a certain way of doing things, instead of like, let me revisit, what is my North Star and what are we looking to do here? And, do we maybe need to make different, decisions to get there? So yeah, I think I've become more flexible, and I think that's been really important, to just always remember your why and know that, you can follow that North Star, but if you need to change your tempo, slow down, speed up, that's okay too.
Yeah, I love that. We've always said that the best business leaders are book smart, yes, but more so street smart. And I feel like that really actually rang true the last few years. Kathleen, will you join us? We're going to open this bottle of champagne. Will you join us in a toast?
Yes, I'm going to toast with my coffee.
Kathleen, so good to see you. As I'm thinking about just even what you just said there, it's like, I found myself in that same boat. Woo!
All right.
He literally just popped that champagne. All right. That's the first
Very
time here in
impressive.
Office One. I love it. Yeah. What was coming to mind for me is just being savvy. I would say that I've tended to be the one who's got the plan, and, my job is to execute the plan, but it's like, you got to be savvy. So you got to be willing to be flexible. And to me, that's part of that small business advantage. And I think there's a lot of us on the line here that can certainly relate to a new level of savvy as we're all leading in a very dynamic business environment.
Yeah.
Kathleen, you are so loved. I would say we miss you because, we used to be right down the hall. Now we're right down the street. So it's not, we miss you, it's, we love you. And, no matter what you do and how you do it, we are in support of you and everything that you do. Thank you so much for being a big, big part of the community. And here's a little toast to you.
Cheers. Cheers to the next 100.
All right. Thank you so much, Kathleen. We so appreciate you. We'll see you again soon. All right. We are celebrating our 100th episode of the Navigating Now Virtual Roundtable series. I'm here with my co-founder, Norm. We're bringing in some of the most prolific guests here across the Navigating Now community. Speaking of prolific, and I think his audio is now working.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be bringing in Nosa. He goes by Nosa. We call him Nosa. We've never called him anything else. He's an incredible community leader in Chicago. He's done some incredible things. He leads a nonprofit organization by the name of Prolific that's just pouring into the youth. And it looks like, Nosa, your connection's kind of in and out again. So if you say hello, we'll be able to test the audio. If not, Norm and I are going to toast to you, brother. It is so good to see you. Thank you so much for being a big part of the Navigating Now community. You're a little bit frozen on the screen. That's okay. But we want to thank you. You've done so much for us. Your ability to bring new life to new conversation is absolutely unmatched. And we want to thank you for joining today. Although we've had a bit of a technical hiccup here with your connection. We love you. And we'll see you this weekend on the football field. All right. So we got Nosa in at least to say thanks. Hopefully he heard us. We're going to bring a couple of more leaders to the forefront here. I think it's time to possibly bring in Mr. Mark Scala. And Mark is from Scallywag Productions. This is an incredible small business here in Chicago. And one of the things that Mark has done so well as we bring him in is that he has really brought life to what it is to build and grow a small business and a team. And Mark believes not only in enabling his clients to tell great stories, but he's got an incredible story himself. He's shared it a few times here on the virtual roundtable. Mark, so good to see you. Welcome back.
Congrats, everybody. This is amazing.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you so much. So, Mark, we're asking everybody the same question. What do you know today as a leader that you didn't know 3 years ago?
I think it's not being afraid to change the process, even if you believe in the process, right? Even if you're on a road and you really believe in what you're doing, and you believe in a certain, whether it's a tactic or a compass point, don't be afraid to shift to something new, whether it's a minor shift or a big shift, just because you really thought you got it right. Business and entrepreneurship is all about reiterating, changing, seeing what works. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is I, always thinking that this is the way, understanding that there's lots of different ways to get to point, the end of the road, if you will, and being open to that change, I think is really the number one thing you can do as a business owner.
Yeah, I love that. Thoughts on Mark's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, just as you're saying that, what resonates for me is there's a lot of times when you look at success or the outcomes and you say like, oh, you must have had a plan to get there. And it's like, if you had actually known what it took for us to get there, it absolutely wasn't the plan. So I think to your point, just really embracing that change and being willing to look to others, to empower them, to say, I might have a methodology, I might have an approach, but I'm looking for us to get creative. Like, what are the ways that we're going to succeed together?
And enjoying the journey along the way.
And enjoying it and having some fun.
Yeah. And, and I'll raise a glass to you, Mark, because one of the things that we so appreciate about, our forefront leaders on the Navigating Now platform and the community, I should say, is our ability to go to other business leaders. And whether it's Norm and I, or it's Amanda or other folks from the team, and say, I don't have the plan and I don't know which direction I'm going in. And we can do that like so transparently and so authentically with leaders like yourself. And then you take that and you reflect that onto your community, enabling folks to lead with authenticity. And, you're just one of the few that I've gotten to know you, your ethos, the culture of your company and your team well before I have your actual offerings. And there's no better way to network and to build community than that. So, Mark, thank you so much for being a big part of our community. Cheers.
Great.
What are you drinking, by the way?
It's a sparkling water called Essay or S.
Oh, cool.
It's awesome. It's like,
okay,
low calorie, delicious.
Good. Great little product placement there. I like that. Maybe they're a future client of yours.
For them, so we're drinking this.
Cheers to you, brother.
Man.
Cheers.
All right, Mark, thank you so much for joining. Again, we are bringing in some of our loved leaders as part of the Thoughtium Navigating Now Roundtable series, episode 100. I am here with Norm, our co-founder. We're going to be bringing Amanda back here in just a second. One of the things that I will maybe comment on as we take a look back is, the Navigating Now series itself was spun up at the beginning of the pandemic. And prior to the pandemic, we were doing long form video content by way of vlogs. And Norm, this because it would take 6-8 hours for us to be in a room with a camera, shooting content, capturing that content, and then it would take anywhere between 10 and 20 hours an episode in post-production. Yeah. And although that was so fulfilling for us, was to be able to put our perspective out by way of high production, in our terms, high production video content, the pandemic allowed us to spin up a voice that we knew needed to come to our audience a lot quicker and a lot more authentically. And that was through the live format. And so towards the very beginning of the pandemic, it was March or April of 2020, we hosted our first Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. And week over week, we've been able to go live to our LinkedIn community, Facebook, YouTube. And we have so many people to thank, encouraging us to do that and encouraging us to continue to put our story forward. And that's something that I'm reflecting on over the last few days, is that, this really started 6 years ago with a camera in a conference room. And I know we're still just getting started. One of those leaders that is just forever a voice of encouragement and hype for us in so many different ways is Darren Schwartz. And we're going to be bringing Darren, and we'll also bring Amanda in as well, too, because Darren came to us by way of one of her best friends, Amanda. Darren runs a lifestyle yoga community here in Chicago by the name of The Space Between. She's also a part of our Small Business Strong community. And we're so excited to have you, Darren. Welcome.
I am so happy to be here with y'all.
Hi, Darren.
I love spending time with y'all.
As if you haven't seen enough of us this week already. And I'm also going to bring in Amanda so she can say hello. I hope this works. Yes.
Hey,
The whole gang's here.
The whole fan was here. I love this.
Yeah, I guess, Darren, we'd love for you to answer, our 100th episode question. What do you know today that you didn't know 3 years ago? Oh, there's so much to unpack about what you mean to and have brought to the Navigating Now community. And I want maybe Amanda to speak to this a little bit. But this same question that we are asking you today was a question that you've asked Norm and I and about 20 of your community members as we were neck deep in Lake Michigan at 6:30 in the morning on a Wednesday, because you had invited us and your growing community to an experience, a cold plunge experience that is so much more than just jumping in freezing Lake Michigan, but it's about community and support and thriving. And I want you to speak on that, but Amanda, I want you to come in and maybe just introduce Darren by way of what she means to our Navigating Now community.
Oh, guys, I'm 30 weeks pregnant. You can't put me on the spot like this. No, I think it's been such a pleasure because Darren and I have been very good friends. She as a human and her business has transformed my life in very big ways. And so when I joined Thoughtium and Norm was so quick to be like, let's get her through a small business strong summit. Let's do this. And he jumped right in and sat at the table and has held so much space for her as well. It's just been unbelievably meaningful. And last week I was on PTO and I got a picture come through Slack that was like a bunch of people from my team at this cold plunge. And it's just so meaningful to me to see these relationships forming outside of me. Darren's like a part of our team at this point. And so yeah, it means a lot. And Darren, you're such an important part of our community and we love you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And my lifelong dream of being the Thoughtium resident witch is
it's coming
closer and closer every single week. So I'm so glad to be here with y'all. Really, I'm very emotional sitting here thinking about just how triangulated we are in so many different ways and what you all mean to me. So thank you for inviting me back in.
Yes. So Darren is the founder and the owner of the Space Between. This is so much more than just a yoga brand. This is truly a space to come and grow and thrive. She's also just an incredible builder of community here in Chicago. Darren, I know that you have learned so much over the last couple years, and thankfully we've been able to learn with you. What's one thing that you know today that you didn't know 3 years ago?
Oh my God, I knew nothing 3 years ago. And I think every time I've been here on Navigating Now, I've been a different person each time. And I feel like I am a wildly different person than even the last time I sat at this table with y'all. And that was just 6 months ago. But the thing that has really struck me as of late is just how important my own practitionership has been to the business and to expanding the business and also growing my confidence in what the business can become. I went into this not wanting to be a yoga teacher at all. I just wanted to be an operator. I just wanted to run the business. And now it's like the opposite. I don't want to be an operator. I just want to be a yoga teacher and a practitioner. And developing my practitionership has allowed me to create things like the morning cold plunge at the lake and different class formats. And it's really expanded our business in such an interesting way. And I think part of that has been just kind of moving everything out of the way that is not aligned with who I am, where I'm going, and where I want this business to go, and making big changes that have made such a huge impact on my own life and the business as well.
Yeah, I mean, if there ever was an example of living your own brand, creating space for your own growth, and ensuring that you have what you need to think of new possibilities. That is the transformation that we've seen you go through. And we relate to the side of you, Darren, as a business owner, that is so fixated on ensuring the success and the health of your business. And sometimes that is at the cost, if you will, of the big ideas. And I'll steal a term from NOSA. Sometimes that, our need to keep the lights on is at the cost of the big work.
Yep.
And so, we as leaders, whether you're owning and running a business or whether you're building a team within an organization, we have this real responsibility to create space for ourselves. And Norm, I know you've worked with Darren a lot on the growth of her business. How have you seen that in her over the course of the last few years?
It's amazing. I'm absolutely honored to be at the table with Darren as I look back to December when you just said, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm ready to turn the keys in. Like, I'm tired. And I think we've all been there. And when I'm super fortunate because every Wednesday and Thursday, I get to see your practitionership. And I mean, it's not just elevated, it's having a real transformation on me as an individual. So Amanda, as you talked about the role that Darren has played, it's just been absolutely a foundational piece to my week, is truly feeling so connected to you as a healer, you as creating that experience for all of us. And it's amazing to see. It's truly just, it's so rewarding. There's no other way for me to say it. I'm just absolutely honored to see where you're at. And I can't wait tomorrow when you're here live in person and we're talking about those big dreams, because you've got big dreams and you've got an entire team who's just here to cheerlead you.
Yeah,
I will. And I think this is like a real mutual admiration society, but like, I really do. I would love to just say, thank you so much for creating the space for me. You gave me a safe space to say, this is hard. And from that moment, I've only grown and only expanded from that time. And Thoughtium has helped me, and Norm and Anthony and Amanda, you all have helped me feel so safe and secure in saying, this is hard. And y'all said, let me help you. And so thank you for that help. It's been life-changing for me and for the business.
Wonderful. Darren, thank you so much for jumping on today. Maybe you've got a glass to raise. I know we do. Here's to you. What are you drinking? A little
I got Topo Chico.
Okay, good. That's some bubbly. That's some bubbly.
Yeah.
Cheers to you. Here's to 100 episodes. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. And this is definitely not goodbye. This is, we'll see you tomorrow.
Happy 100.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Love you, Darren.
Love
All right,
you.
Amanda, we'll see you in just a few minutes. Okay, wonderful. So we are counting down and back and up from 100 as we celebrate our 100th episode of Navigating Now. This platform, of course, has been an opportunity for us to support those folks that have been a part of our network over the course of the last, 10, 15 years of our professional career, Darren being one of them, Nosa being another. But every once in a while, we're introduced to a new leader by way of Navigating Now, by way of our network, that just sparks such curiosity and demonstrates excellence in so many ways that we can't help but just continue to glean insights from these leaders. And one of those leaders, hopefully he'll be able to join us here in just a minute, will be Matt Semaglia. Matt is a now perennial guest as part of the Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. He's been on the show a couple times. Matt and I have a lot in common in terms of our passions and our interests, but at the core of all of it, it really has to do with pushing the limits a little bit, trying new things, and not being afraid to kind of go against the status quo. And so, Matt, we want to bring you forward as part of our 100th episode here. I know you've been on the show a couple times. You're building an incredible platform by the name of Altman. And I know it's gotten a lot of great kind of traction in the marketplace. But more than anything, you and I have connected on the future of client services and what tools and technologies we can bring to better reach our people. And I want to thank you for the passion and the insights. And we want to welcome you to the 100th episode.
Well, congrats, guys. I really, I know what it takes to put something like this together. And I know that you guys have been working really hard on it. So I know there's technical glitches here and there. I've done a lot of live TV myself, but no, you guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you so much. Matt, we're asking everybody the singular question: what do you know today that you didn't know 3 years ago? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think that the world is a lot more resilient than we thought it would be. And, one of the biggest things as a leader, and I've heard a couple of the responses, but it's just, adapting to change. And I think the bigger component to it is more around empathy, and people that are working with you are, during the pandemic, everyone was struggling in some way. And I think that, I don't think people understood really the pressures that were on the leaders, right? We were also waking up every day and living this same world, but we were also having to sort of rally the troops and get everyone together. But, I think quickly into it, we realized how truly resilient people are. And, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I saw in the last 3 years.
Yeah, so appreciate that. And I think one of the things that I've learned is that tapping into your community in ways that maybe you hadn't before is so important in today's age where things are shifting so quickly. So Matt is just one of those leaders that I, over the course of the last really 6 months of our working relationship, if you will, I've been able to call and get like real advice on the dime about big decisions that we're making, technologies that we're investing in. And through that, Matt, I've gotten so much value from you. We have a standing meeting every other week. And I feel like those discussions, those regular discussions, that kind of like therapy for leaders, if you will, that peer therapy that we provide each other is so important today, more so than it ever has been before. And I just want to thank you for being open to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the saying is true. And the fact that there's even a saying is sad, but it's lonely at the top sometimes. And, and to be able to connect with other leaders and connect with other people that you respect, right? Because there's obviously a mutual respect here. I think that it's really good to weigh out what's going on. And, certainly within my company, we're going through some growth right now. And, it's good to just kind of have that balance of being able to talk to somebody, or even on a personal level, sometimes getting into, things that are going in our lives that like really have this cross-blended mentality of the sense that, a lot of times with leaders or entrepreneurs particularly, there is, not really a line drawn between the two or differentiating what's personal and what's business.
Absolutely.
And, we're always working, 24/7 and thinking about what it is that we're doing next.
Yeah. I love that. Norm, any thoughts?
Yeah. So we've started to name that the founder's journey, and what sits right underneath that is the real, because a lot of times you're the one who everybody's looking to set direction. You've got to bring that, positive energy, that clarity and confidence as far as what's happening. At the same time, you're being asked to do things that are outside of your experience and skill set. The market is so dynamic. And so we've connected with so many leaders just to acknowledge like we're in a unique position. And by us having a true connection with other founders and leaders of small businesses, all of a sudden, like we're there for each other. We're showing up for each other. And I think for me, that is probably one of the biggest gifts that has come through the last 18 months is the ability to connect in that way about really what's happening both within the business, but also outside of the business as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. Matt, thank you so much for being a part of today. Thank you so much for being a part of our network. For those small business owners that are part of our network, if you are creating content and you're looking to scale that, Matt's platform, Altman, is just super exciting. We're just getting close to the opportunity, and I know Matt is really pouring into supporting creators in really unique ways. So check out, I think it's Altman.io. Matt, I have to chuckle because when we first met, I knew that we had so much in common and we had so many interests in common. And I think at the time, the discussion of the day was on NFT technology and creative uses of that. And I'll never forget because we had just done a show and you and I were following up, and Amanda, our chief of staff, was sitting right across from me. And I think I had canceled a meeting with her to create a standing meeting with you. And she looked across the way and she said, "Did I just lose my work buddy?" And I said, "I don't know, but I got to meet with Matt." So thank you so much. Your leadership is just so valued, and we look forward to having you back on the show soon. Oh, cheers to you also.
Yeah, cheers to you guys. I have my water because I still have meetings for the rest of the day. But cheers to you guys.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. All right. So we are continuing to bring in some of our more prolific guests and members of the Navigating Now community. We're super thrilled to have those leaders who have been on the show and even a few leaders that are really just a part of our community and continue to tell their story and help us tell ours. And we want to bring forward Chris Ibushi here in just a moment. You know, Chris has not only been a great leader in several areas of business that we play in, he's a leader in the life sciences and biopharma industry, of which, you know, we have a lot of clients. But more than anything, Chris is also a good friend. And I'm going to bring Chris forward here to say hello. Chris Ibushi. He is a part of our Navigating Now community. He's also a part of Astellas Pharma in Chicago, where he's doing some incredible work to help globalize the organization. Chris, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I wanted to bring you on, Chris, because not only are you a great part of our network, and I know we can call you anytime for advice, you've been a tremendous mentor to me personally, and you and I also are connected through the late Chuck Pearson, who's had such an influence on us at Thoughtium and building this community. And I know you. Welcome and thanks for taking the time today.
Oh, thanks, Anthony. Hey, Norm, how are you?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. I'll do a cheers to you guys too. Congratulations on 100 episodes. I also have water, but I'll switch over later tonight.
I mean, is everybody drinking water at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? I don't know about our community, but we're drinking champagne. Maybe just today.
No, but thanks for the opportunity, Anthony, and I appreciate the words, and you've been a mentor to me just as well.
Thank you. Yeah, our good friend Chuck, we used to have conversations with him about mentorship and how the best mentors are two-way in direction. You're both learning from each other. Speaking of learning, Chris, we want to ask you the question we've been asking every other leader that's popped on. What do you know today as a leader that you didn't know 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's interesting, Anthony, and one of them I would just tie into one of the things that I learned from, our great friend Chuck, and is just the importance of having touch points. And I think as a leader, in the old way prior to the pandemic, we really, when you're in the office, people could come in and maybe you think of it as an interruption, or you run into people in the hallway or cafeteria. But in actuality, those are, touch points where you can influence people and certainly learn more about them and understand what makes people tick. So that was one thing that, Chuck was so good at. And I think one of the big changes that I've seen in over the past couple of years is the opportunity that we don't have with as frequent a touch points, certainly live touch points that we used to have. I think it's probably a little harder to have those connections. You have to work a little harder to do those. And that's something that, Chuck was so good at, right? Yeah. Understanding what makes people tick.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. And if there's anything that rings clear, Chris, it's that, those connections that you forged well prior to the pandemic, they live on, and we find creative ways to get together. And I know Astellas has such an incredible culture that was really rooted in a lot of the face-to-face, very meaningful interactions. And it's been really fun and inspiring to be a part of how you all are figuring that out. I know it takes time, but wow, you all have just some incredible people as part of your organization. And whatever you do, Chris, and wherever you may be, we are in support of you. I know that I can call you anytime, and we just really appreciate you being a part of the Navigating Now community.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, Anthony, and it's fun to see what you guys have done and how you promote the community, and I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Here's to you, brother.
All right.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Chris.
Take care.
All right. Wonderful. Oh man, it's so good to see Chris. I haven't seen his face in a couple of weeks. We are celebrating 100 episodes of the Navigating Now virtual Roundtable series. We're bringing forward some of our more prolific guests and leaders within our community. And it's just been so enjoyable to bring forward some of the voices that have really made an impact. And I want to bring forward a leader here that we would call not just a client, but a friend and also a real mentor. Tom Shaner, who is really running a phenomenal organization in Ambry Genetics, joined us. I believe it was episode 25 or 20. It was very early on in the pandemic, and he was kind of sharing how he was maintaining continuity with his team and providing direction as the world was kind of on tilt. But throughout all of it, Tom has been one of those leaders that I personally can call on the drop of a dime as a leader of an organization and ask the hard questions. And Tom does not have the fluffy answers. He oftentimes has the answers that you may want to hear, and sometimes those that you don't want to hear. And that's what makes Tom such an incredible leader, his ability to kind of cut through the day-to-day minutia of leadership development, if you will, and provide like just real direction and insights. And that's what's made Tom such a great leader. Tom, thank you for joining today, and welcome to the table.
Hey, congratulations on your 100 episodes. I did break out my favorite 1942.
Nice.
I love that. I
stuff.
knew if there was one of our guests, our leaders, that would actually come and toast with us, it would be you. So yes, thank you so much. Tom, what do you know today that you didn't know 3 years ago?
I appreciate the question, because it made me really think about what has transpired over the past 3 years and just the evolution. And I'll answer this from two lenses. The first one is from a customer lens, and the second is from an employee perspective. From the customers, and it's not something we didn't know, it just became critically important that we meet our customers where they're at. And the virtual world became real for lots of companies across our industry in particular. And not all of us were super tech savvy. Not all of us needed to have virtual solutions in place to engage with our customers, but we had to learn really, really quick. And we had to become really creative with those opportunities to bring these people to the table. And it was just one of those, for me, aha moments, how critically important it is that, again, we meet our customers where they are. And unfortunately for a lot of us, they were no longer in the office. They were no longer in the hospital. They were no longer in the clinic. And we just had to get creative. And even though things have started to get back to normal, like the genie's not going back in that bottle, right? So now we need to supplement the live interactions with the virtual interactions and try to make ourselves as efficient as possible. But for me, that was a big learning moment and evolution for our customer interactions. The other lens I was thinking about is really our employees. And in an effort to maintain and attract good employees these days, it's way different now post-pandemic than it was before. And I think as a company and as the leaders in the company, you've always been responsible for what I call like their financial health and their career opportunities, right? Do I have good salaries? Do I have good bonus packages? Am I at market value to attract and retain people? Check that box. It's changed dramatically now. And I think that companies need to hold themselves accountable for not just the financial health of their employees, but also the mental health and the physical health, and really taking a holistic approach to how we're attracting and retaining the talent that we have, and taking a much more of a responsibility on those other two factors. And that mental health piece became really, really critical, especially with the changing dynamics over the past 3 years. So I'd say those two lenses are probably the biggest changes from my perspective that we've seen in the organization.
Yeah, incredible insights and well-organized thoughts as well too. Tom, I'll just say this. It was almost exactly 6 years ago that I got a call from you. You were in the middle of a career change, and you asked if I would change directions with you and join your new organization that you were just about to lead and build and scale. And I'll never forget, because I was in the phone booth of my existing employer, just a little pop-in phone booth, and I was not prepared for the conversation. And my response was, Tom, I would love to join, but I would love for you to be my first client. And that was history. I mean, that was essentially the beginning of Thoughtium. Tom took a risk on me at the time, but I think he knew that he was investing in a spark that I had that we've been able to build and scale here over the last 6 years. And I'll say it again, Tom. We just absolutely so appreciate the chance you took on Thoughtium, the team, the belief that you've had in us, and just the undying support. It is felt like you wouldn't believe. And I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, one slight correction. You are not a risk. You're definitely not a risk. Yeah, no, listen, we've enjoyed our interactions with you and the team. It's been, I guess I'd say, a proud moment for me watching you evolve and watching this company grow. And you folks, you and your team have done a lot. So anyhow, thank you from us to you as well. And it was really good seeing you guys. Hey, Norm.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, brother. Thank you so much for joining. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good rest of the day.
Until next time.
All right. Oh, so good to see Tom.
Yes.
Man, I want to do this every week. We'll just invite the same guests back every week, pop on for 5 minutes, say hello. Tom's incredibly busy. Took the time to pop on and celebrate our 100th episode of the Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. Norm, I maybe want to have you take this next one. This is a leader that is a part of what we call our 6-block radius. And this 6-block radius really started with a great connection that we've had with a local business leader here in Chicago, Nick Rodriguez, the founder, owner, operator of Train Moment. And I'll bring Nick forward, and Norm, you can say hello.
Nick, so glad to have you here. As I think about even just an introduction for Nick and the Train Moment team, it's like I don't even know where to start. 2 years ago, we had the opportunity to be part of this community. We needed a bedrock as we were all going through such uncertainty and such change. And there was something different about what Nick was building. As we looked around him as a leader and his team, there was just this sense of positivity and this sense of purpose that was happening as you all were really moving and shaking as you were starting to build your own business. And that real sense of community was so critical for me individually, outside of Thoughtium, the business, et cetera. But we always look at your leadership and your team as the true beacon for, what can we learn and what can we be inspired by with what Nick and Katie and everybody at Train Moment is doing. So absolutely honored, Nick, to have you here at the table as a leader, as a fellow brother and man, and, as a leader of community.
Thank you. What a introduction. Grateful for the kind words. Grateful to know both of you great gentlemen and have you guys inside of our doors and part of our amazing community. As you mentioned, you guys are just such positive individuals yourselves. So it makes sense why you'd be attractive to, what we've been trying to create and build at Train Moment. And thank you for having me, and cheers to you guys for the 100.
All right. Salud. Little LaCroix. That's okay. That's some bubbly. Salud.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick, what do you know today that you didn't know 3 years ago?
Man. So, I have to say that, this is probably a little anti-entrepreneurial of me in a way. I think, a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're thinking more, bigger. Mm-hmm. And, I guess what I'm kind of learning, and this has been a very recent development for myself, it just less is more sometimes, and sometimes being very cautious of what we dive into and what we go after, and what does growing and expanding, what does it truly cost us, and what does it cost those around us? And I could be speaking very much from a very exhausted space of being a brand new, grateful, joyful father of a 2-month-old.
Congratulations, brother.
Man. Yeah.
Thank you. Little Israel James came to join us on Memorial Day, May 30th. So about May 29th was the last time I had a good night's sleep, a full night's sleep. So, I'm in the process of potentially growing and expanding. My wife and I are in the process of potentially growing and expanding Train Moment, looking to hopefully bring on our 3rd location sooner than later. And I know I've found some hesitation within myself lately. Not that I don't believe that we can execute and do it, and that I can do the work necessary to make it happen. I'm very confident that I can. I am not super confident that I can be the person, the man, the father that I need to be while putting my head down and going after this at this maybe juncture and point in my life. And I think that's okay. And I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, it's like more, and more is good sometimes, but sometimes less is more. And, so I guess that is a new learning that I've,
Nick, I just really appreciate you sharing that. And it's something that we've talked about with you, and we've also talked, Anthony and I, about this, is a new definition of success. And success doesn't mean more and breadth and width. It's really about intentionality and depth. And so I think all of us are in that space where we're strivers. We're used to going big and having big dreams, but it's at what cost? And so you start to ask yourself those bigger questions. And I just really appreciate you sharing that, because I would say, I'm in that headspace as well. Just having a better holistic definition as to like, what does success look like? And how can I make sure that I'm pouring into all aspects of my life, business being one, family and friends and meaningful relationships being, equally as important.
Exactly. I think sometimes, it gets glorified more and more and more, bigger,
Yeah.
bigger business. And with no matter what the collateral damage may be in our relationship life, in our emotional life. And so, I think just the toll that, that the pandemic has had on all of us, has allowed us to sit back and think, and what is real, what is necessary, what is true, what is life-giving to us, and focus on that more than focusing on more.
One of the biggest benefits that I've had over the course of the last 3 years or so has been that I actually live in a building just above Train Moment, which was Nick's first location in a growing business, and it was the moments that I walked out of the building and popped my head in Train Moment, not just as a member of Nick's gym, but also as a fellow business owner, and just stopped and had these conversations on a day-to-day basis, where this term, the 6-block radius, was coined, when everything was shut down and everybody was kind of sequestered to one place. Those of us that either had to kind of walk from A to B or pop their heads out every once in a while would make sure that we stopped and connected. And it was through that process where my world got so much smaller, and I was able to start to let go of maybe some of my initial thoughts of what real success and expansion might look like. It was through those conversations, those run-in conversations with Nick and Nick, I'm so grateful to have you so close in proximity, in brotherhood, as it pertains to the conversations that myself and Norm have had with you. But more importantly, in community, our whole team, they just love you, whether they're members of your gym or not. They so appreciate what you're putting forward out in your community as well. And we're just so proud to have you a part of our 6-block radius.
Yeah. Proud to be a part of it. And cheers to you guys. 100 episodes.
Cheers.
You guys been crushing it.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you,
All
brother.
right.
So good to see you. I'll actually see it at 5:30 class if you're not there. I'll make sure I don't skimp on my push-ups.
All right.
See you, Nick.
All right, man.
All right. Awesome. Well, we are just about to wrap up here our 100th episode of the Navigating Now Virtual Roundtable series. But before we do so, and the timing of this is just so wonderful that we get to bring in Jeremy Jones, who is also a part of what we call our 6-block radius. Jeremy is a prolific leader here in Chicago. He is the founder, president, owner, operator of Uncooked, which is a growing brand here in Chicago that promotes clean eating and lifestyle balance. And Jeremy has been in the thick of all of this change with us over the course of the last few years. He's been a guest on the show, but more importantly, anytime we stop by to grab some lunch or walk by, he's popping his head out as well too, and making those connections. That just means so much to us. So Jeremy, welcome, and thank you for joining.
Of course. From your words to God's lips, gentlemen, I wish I could take that with me everywhere I go and just have you announce me everywhere, in any room I walk into.
Anthony's power intros, you can't beat them.
They get better and better. The more times you're on the show, the more ridiculous they get, right?
You just got to start digging for stuff. Cheers on the 100.
Yes, and cheers to your new addition to your family as well too.
Cheers, brother.
Jeremy, like
Thank
Nick,
you.
is a new father. Should we call them founder fathers? I don't know. I mean, this is like a whole new dimension to your world that I've gotten a little glimpse of over the course of the last few months. And man, your world has changed just in the last 6 or 8 weeks. But the question for you is, what's changed for you? What do you know today as a leader that you didn't know 3 years ago?
I'm going to piggyback off a little bit of what Nick said, right? I think we have this conflation in the West of entrepreneurships, and specifically startup entrepreneurship and hustle culture. And one of the things that I've learned specifically over the past, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, right before Pippa was born and during this whole process, but it's been evolving during the pandemic, is this notion of what is it that I do really well, and what is it that naturally gravitates me towards being an entrepreneur? That's dealing with stress. That's taking risk and navigating risk. And I think that's the true privilege of owning a business, especially a business that employs people. So one of the things that I've been looking at like Nick, I think there's a lot of commonalities. We got a new spot opening up next year. We're doing some cool things, but my natural tendency, and I think Nick's and I think both of you guys, is like, put it on my back. Let's go. Let's rock. The ship goes as the captain goes, right? And what I've been really looking at doing is the thing that makes me a good entrepreneur and the thing that makes me a good founder is taking risk, and then allowing other people to flourish within my company, and essentially running their own company nested within my company without having to take the additional risk and the additional burden of running a business. Because as we all know, there's a lot of unsexy stuff that comes with running a business. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows. So if I can do the nitty gritty and the hard stuff and then allow other people to do the heavy lifting, and if I can find enough competent folks, the business essentially builds itself, and I can spend time and do the job that I think I am called to do by God now, which is take care of my little girl. So
that's incredible. And I mean, just the timing of what's happening in your life, and the realizations that you're making as a business owner, that's not a coincidence. That all of these things are kind of converging on you, really finding your spot as a business leader, and now as a new father. Again, congratulations. I think one of the points that you just mentioned about how you're enabling your people to almost run businesses within your business, that is something that I have experienced even in the day-to-day conversations that I'm having with your employees. As we come in and grab lunch, and I say hi to Ashton and a few others that we just say hi to on a regular basis, you can tell that they're bringing a real sense of their own and their self. And you can tell that that Uncooked is a platform for them to build bigger meaning in what they're passionate about. And that's something that we feel very strongly about here at Thoughtium as well too. In fact, we call Thoughtium a platform more than it is a business, because it's a platform for us to engage with our clients in some incredible ways. But it's also a platform for our team and our people, to build a little something of their own and take it with them. And hopefully that's with Thoughtium, and maybe it's with the next step in their career. And I know you're such a big proponent of that, and I think that's a part of your secret sauce. So we just appreciate that leadership.
Of course, and I'll leave everybody with one thing that I've been really elevating. When I was young in my 20s, I always wanted to be rich and famous. Now that I'm a father, I want to be wealthy and anonymous.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes, sir.
I like that. Yeah. If Nick is still watching, he's probably smiling as well too. Oh man. Jeremy, brother, it is so good to see you. Thank you so much for being a part of Navigating Now. Thank you for the friendship. Thank you for being a part of my 6-block radius and somebody that I can always count on to share these types of conversations. And we can't wait to see you soon. Again, congratulations, founder, father.
Congrats, buddy.
And he's raising the green juice.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you, Jeremy.
Product placement at its best.
Yes, yes. There you go. All right. So I think that rounds out exactly 4:00 on the dot. That rounds out our 100th episode of the Thoughtium Virtual Roundtable series. What an incredible episode. Gosh, I just feel like we had so much energy and love from so many different people that, have been a part of our network over the course of the last now 3 years, and for some 3+ years.
Yep.
We'll bring Amanda back on, maybe closing thoughts as you think back to the last 100 episodes, and Amanda, maybe as we look forward to the next 100 episodes.
Ooh, good one. Yeah, it was really cool to hear everybody's kind of reflections and how many of them came back to being agile and pivoting and not having to stick to the plan. Like, that was cool to see how that's been a theme, because I know that's been a theme for us and our business as well. So neat to see just different themes emerge from our community. And gosh, for the next 100, you put me on the spot here. But I guess I could put a stake in the ground on something wild, and then we have to do it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think Norm kind of nodded to this earlier. It's not necessarily about it becoming, thousands and thousands of people. I think we're going to continue to go with depth. We're going to continue to cultivate a community where people want to show up for each other and rally around each other like we saw today. So I think we're going to keep doing what we do best, and that's pouring into the people that we know and we love. And we'll continue to bring people in, along the way as our team grows and as their teams grow. But at the end of the day, we're going to stick to what we know, and we're going to continue to support into these amazing people.
I love that. Stick to what we know. And that's what's gotten us here, and that's what will propel us forward. Norm, what are your thoughts looking back, and what do you expect for the next 100 episodes?
I'll say looking back, still just absolutely amazed at a time to pause and acknowledge, again, like acknowledge we're all in this journey together. There's been real growth that's happened, and each of us there's a real intersection between business and community that all of us are feeling. And so everybody that's on this line is part of that intersection. I'm absolutely motivated to continue to blur those lines between community and business. As I look forward, what does that look like? It's a lot more collaborations. It's a lot more blurring of those lines. To use, as we were talking about earlier, that concept of the platform. I just think that there's a lot of ways that we can do business differently. And so as I look at the unique talent, skills, and passions for people that are part of our Navigating Now community and will be in the next 100 episodes, I see a real opportunity to do creative, unique partnerships where we're all thriving together. So I look forward to that platform being not just a weekly episode, but a flourishing, thriving community that works through business.
Yeah. And we are so already well on our way. You think about the ways that we've been able to connect with even just the folks on the line here today outside of this show.
Yep.
The collaborations we've done, the mentorships that we've done, the advent of Small Business Strong, which is now a formal offering here at Thoughtium, where we're able to more formally invest and pour into small businesses, both here in Chicago and outside of the Midwest. This platform has been the starting point of so much good for us as individuals and our team here at Thoughtium. And I will look back and say I'm just so fortunate and thankful to be connected to so many incredible people, incredible leaders, incredible coworkers like yourself, Amanda and Norm, who are pushing me every day to become better as an individual, both when the camera's on and the camera is not on. I will also look back and acknowledge that 6 years ago, I turned the camera on and had no idea where we would be going with episode 1, but I intentionally named the episode 001.
How about that?
Knowing that there was going to be a point where there would be triple digits in the content that we're making here. And as I look back, I'm just so fortunate to have the support and the enablement of all the people here at Thoughtium and the network to allow us to go into triple digits here. It really is something special. Looking forward, I will remark and reflect what Amanda and Norm said: more community building, more truth, more connection, more big work outside of the show, which we will continue to do. I want to have more on-site interactions as well too. Yep. One of my favorite episodes this year was when we were on site at JP Graziano's here in Chicago. So hopefully we get to travel a little bit more and do more face to face. If not, this platform will be here every week at 3:00 Thursday, streaming live to all of our social media channels. We want to thank our community, those folks who are tuning in. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all of you inspire us to continue to do this week over week. We want to thank our friends and family who, will watch this week over week and give us, input and feedback that is just so valuable. And we look forward to just doing this more with you in the new season. And the new season will start at the beginning of September. We're going to take a few weeks off. Amanda insisted that we take a few weeks off. I didn't want it to happen. But we're taking a couple weeks off, yes, and we'll be back in a few weeks with our next episode of Navigating Now. Amanda, what is that date that we will be back? It's
September
is it the
1st?
September 1st. Awesome. So we will be back September 1st with a new season of the Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. You can see all 100 episodes at thoughttium.com/live. Amanda, thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being a part of the team. Norm, thank you for being my co-founder, one of my best friends, and
Appreciate
a
you.
big part of Navigating Now.
Yeah.
And to all of you tuning in, have a great rest of the week and a wonderful weekend. So long.